And here we are. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it is McCoy, Melanated Council of Yang. We are here on this lovely Tuesday night, still talking about Black History Month. We're still celebrating Black History Month. We're still talking about Black issues because it's important. We also want you guys to, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment on the channel and whatnot. And so, in honor of Black History Month and keeping up with the topics that's been going on, I'm allowed the lovely L to introduce this segment for us today. L, take it away.
Alrighty. So yeah, like as we know that I don't even know how to really start it, but I'm just gonna talk off the dome. Clearly, like there's a wealth gap between white Americans and Black Americans, and I feel like there's just like every single avenue of ways to get wealth. Black people have always just been shafted throughout history. So there's the whole redlining, gerrymandering, um, uh, schools. Like Black people couldn't go to like any university ever, so like they had to create HBCUs. And I know that like education, housing, and I feel like there's a third one of like the most like the ways to actually generate wealth in this country. Maybe it's just two. Maybe it's just housing, and education, if I'm not mistaken. I think those are the top two. And
And access to capital.
and access to capital, like
Access,
jobs.
like being able to get a loan to start a business
Right.
or yeah.
Okay. True. So yeah, we figured like since we haven't really spoken about this topic really, that you know now's a great time. Um, yeah. Trying to like how to even start. Um, okay. If anybody wants to take it along,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
trying to think. I'm sorry.
no, I got you, L. I got you, L. And so basically what we're striving at is this is we're gonna talk about black wealth in the ways of how it needs to get generated, what needs to happen in order for it to get generated, and just come up with some basic ideas of what it means for black people to be able to have access to wealth and not only just have access to it, but to also pass it down to the next generations that come up from behind them, you know.
Mhm.
And so the one thing that you brought up, El, that is huge is home ownership, you
Mhm.
know. And a lot of people, when we think about home ownership, we don't really think about the whole ins and outs of it, but it's important, you know, and it's a topic that needs to be talked about of as far as how and why home ownership is a part of that black wealth and what does that look like. Hold up. What does it look like to be able to be a homeowner as black Americans, and I figure that we can start off and ask a question like, what is yes, agreed, 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 definitely agreed. Reparations too, yes, and again, what does that look like? Like
Mhm.
how should that be distributed? And so yeah, we could definitely talk about that too. But again, with the idea of home ownership, what does that look like? And even the acquisition of land, what does that look like? How would that help? to increase the wealth value of many Black Americans. And so, again, I'll throw out the question to you guys:
Mm-hmm.
Is home ownership key to having a foundation for providing wealth?
So ask that last question again, or frame it
Okay.
again.
Okay. So the question is this: Is home ownership, or should home ownership be one of the components to help build a foundation for Black wealth?
100%. 100 freaking
Explain.
percent.
Explain your
So,
reason.
and I gotta get some of the numbers, but when it comes to home ownership, we're behind the curve. I remember being at a conference. I always got to plug this National Society of Blacks in Computing, and the guy who was speaking, like, he wasn't even talking about computing. It was talking about financial literacy. He talked about some pretty hardcore stuff like stock options and all this stuff. But he said, like, the thing that we're behind on, for very good obvious reasons, with like segregation and lack of civil rights, is home ownership. So that's like the quickest way to acquire wealth, is being able to have a home, pass it down, and have that as an asset that rises and doesn't depreciate. So I think and we thank God for Roberto Blake and the conversation we had with him, but I'll kind of do a little, I want to make sure I get this definition right, that wealth is basically your assets minus your liabilities. So you want your assets like your net worth is which is essentially the same, is your assets minus your liabilities. So you need as many of those assets as possible. And you can't own, like, you can rent an apartment like the one I have here, but you don't own that, and you're just paying money for someone else's basically mortgage, versus having your own thing that you get to own and pass down, and then you can continue to own. There's like some really like technical stuff you can go into, but the point is, if you can own multiple homes, that's like one of the best ways of getting your wealth to increase. There's people who either are realtors or they'll own a home and use it as rental income. But essentially, you want to at least own something. Make sure that you can actually have it as a real unit to generate your own wealth. And from what I understand, it's actually one of the biggest reasons for wealth inequality is because of the lack of home ownership. I saw something somewhere that said that your actual income is one of the lesser important things, which kind of blew my mind, was that income is one of the less important things when it comes to the wealth gap. So even if you have a high paying job, you're going to be outgunned by someone who, let's say, isn't making as much. Maybe they're like a farmer, but they own their own land. They own their own house. They don't have the most like high end, flashy Wall Street job, but then you're not paying God knows how much in rent in like New York City or Silicon Valley, paying how much in like California, San Francisco rent. So you can make a lot of money, but if you don't actually own a home and you have that as an asset, then you're going to be behind when it comes to actual wealth. So, we've talked a little bit about like gentrification and how that has caused less people to own homes as well, where they get priced out of the market because of a lot of incoming transplants. And hey, I'm a transplant, so guilty. Though I'm not really in the inner city where a lot of the Black people are in Boston, but a lot of times that also can, affect people negatively. So home ownership is super important. It's harder now so this is actually a big thing. It's a good thing we're talking about this wealth gap, because something recent in the news, of course, is the $50,000 debt forgiveness, which can be a bit of a hot topic. But even some of my more conservative friends have said, like, or at least the ones who are not really fans of Democrat establishment, said this is like one of the good things, one of the few good things that they feel like Biden has actually been doing. And it's something that, there's going to be your, back when I was a kid, I had to work with like 3 jobs and, walked 5,000 miles to go to school and all this
like
stuff.
College cost like $2 back then.
Exactly. So besides that crowd, it is actually you'll get a lot of popularity behind debt forgiveness. And that will help people buy homes, because right now a lot of people are paying off their debts and they're paying rent because they can't afford a home. And I was talking about this with people who, like, I knew from Maryland, had good education, got their master's in like engineering, and couldn't even afford to buy a home. Still can't. I actually don't think they still have. And I know one. Thankfully, they got married. That's another issue. Is a lot of us are not able to get married. I mean, some people may, some people might prefer to not be married at this age, but that is another thing. Is people aren't married, people aren't settling, they're not kind of building some of these assets. I mean, you don't need a family to do it, but a lot of times that will focus you and make you feel like you need something to pass down.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's I know that's one question, Ronald, so I won't delve all into the rest of it, but I want to talk more about student debt a bit later. But Al, definitely I want you to have a chance to say something on the topic of home ownership.
Okay.
No, that lady right over there, she gets to go next.
Okay.
Did I point the wrong way? I did, didn't I?
I didn't even see your point. Yeah. I guess, like speaking as a homeowner, it when you become a homeowner, you are like in like a totally different mindset than when you were just renting or living at home. Like you really start to see money differently. Like when you think of like all your friends, everyone just like renting, you really are just paying off somebody else's mortgage. Because as someone who has a mortgage, you really start to see that's like, oh, I could probably, if my mom wasn't living with me, I could probably like Airbnb my second bedroom and like try to pay that off sooner. But I mean, I'm not really planning on living here my whole life, but it's always a possibility, and it's sort of like a safe feeling knowing that I could just live here and like live in my investment essentially, which I'm sure like you've all heard, like, oh, if you own a home, you live in your own investment. I've been living in my place for about like 5.5 years now, and it's already gone up by like 40K, like 40,000. And so knowing that, like I could just like sell my place and I would just accumulate like about 40K. Like that's kind of crazy to think. And then I could put that money towards something else. And, I know that a lot of people don't really have that option or that opportunity. So, just thinking of my friends who are renting places, who are living paycheck to paycheck, or are in relationships that they don't really want to be in, but they have to in order to make rent. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but like it really starts to make you understand wealth and like just how and like my friend who I'm even thinking of, like he and I went to college together too. So it's just interesting to think like how we just went on just slightly different paths, and I came up here and he's like pretty much struggling because he's just working and living paycheck to paycheck. One thing I did want to mention is one of my good friends, like she's also a homeowner, like she lives in a condo, and her parents bought her the condo. Like she's a white woman. Her parents bought her the condo so she can live there and go to school, go to college, and she would rent out the other bedroom. And, I was just thinking of the generational gap that they could just afford, her parents could just afford to buy a condo. Whereas like my parents didn't help a single cent in me buying my home, when I put the 10% down and everything. I guess like, yeah, they I was living at their place rent free. I'm not going to deny that. So, and, I was working a full-time job with a pretty decent salary. So I just saved up for, as long as I could. And then this place came on the market and I was able to purchase it. But yeah, no, for sure it does suck having to stay in a bad relationship just to stay housed. And yeah, like, but yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, like what else to say. Just like it really starts to like make you think about money differently, make you think about, because like even like just doing renovations in your home, it's expensive, but it actually boosts the value of your home more. And it's not like you're going to think about renovating your apartment that you rent. It's like, oh yeah, let me put in some, like, I don't know, like some new chandeliers, or let me put in like some ceiling lights, or whatever. You're not going to think about that when you're renting a place. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. You start to see it, and like you start to see things differently, and yeah, and you start to see just how like far behind we are, especially as Black people. I guess that's where I was going with my friend whose parents bought their place. That's what I wanted to talk about. My bad. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. Mm-hmm. No, and you're absolutely right, because I look at my brother. He bought his first house, but it really wasn't the house that he actually wanted. Mm-hmm. It was just something that he could afford at that point in time, especially because it was the same place that he was renting out of, and he was mainly doing like all of the work as far as the renovation goes. And so he was like, if I'm paying all you this money for rent, and yet I'm turning around and doing the work that you're supposed to be doing, it's like I might as well just go ahead and buy the house, And so that's what he did. And like he's made some improvements here and there. Granted that, like, it like I said, it wasn't his first choice, but it was just a simple fact of the matter of the city where we live in. The housing market there sucks. Like not a lot of people are selling their homes, and a lot of it gets passed down from generation to generation. And so, he was like, I might as well just go ahead and just buy this one. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I know me and the missus, we talked about later on this year, the one thing we're wanting to do is buy land, because there's a bunch of land in our city that we live in. There's a bunch of land up for grabs, And so we're figuring out like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. We're going to buy the land first, get it cleared out, and then we're going to have our home built on top of that. Mm-hmm. And just for extra measure, just because we're petty like that, for extra measure, we're going to put in the will that under any circumstances, it's supposed to be sold. It's not supposed to be sold. It's supposed to stay in the family as long as this will is still in effect. It stays in the family. Okay. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And so
you might actually want to look into putting it in a trust rather than a will. A trust is more like a lot more secure than a will.
Hey, fair enough. Do it that way. And again, no matter what happens, it cannot get sold. Can you build upon it? Sure, but at the same time, no, you're not going to sell it. No. And so that's the one thing we wanted to do, just to help with our kids, to be able to have something to be able to say, this has been in our family since my mom and dad, and we're going to pass this on to, whoever else. Mm-hmm. And we already told them to, like, the next time we move, we're not moving anytime soon. That's going to be our forever home, And so, as of right now, we're just saving up just so we can have that 10% to put down on the land. Mm-hmm. And what's going on, Sample?
Oh, what's up?
Hey,
what's up? And just use that to, buy the land, get it cleared out. And so, yeah, that's our plan for this year.
That's an excellent.
That's
an excellent plan. That's excellent.
Yes, and it's been in the making for like years, because even before we moved out to Michigan, we were still living in Colorado. We were still planning on doing the same thing, minus the home building. We were just going to buy a house just so we could say we bought a house. But even then, the market, it was good. It was fairly good. There was houses going up. It's just that we didn't have that 10% to put down as a down payment to move in. And even when we did have it, it was used to move us from Colorado to Michigan. And so it was like, well, we're here in Michigan. We're going to start up all over again. Oh well, but at the same time, we're still going to have that 10% to be able to say like, look, we want this piece of land. Here goes 10%. Blah blah blah. We're good. And so and again, that's a really good investment, and I like that idea. We like the idea. The kids love the idea,
For
and
sure.
oh yeah, that's it.
I do want to ask, so I don't really know anything about buying land, though. I do
Mm-hmm,
know that, like, especially down here in South Florida, like, you usually have to put 20, like, nowadays, you have to put 20% down so you don't have to have, like, mortgage insurance, which is, like, just some
mm-hmm,
bullshit.
mm-hmm.
Um, like, fortunately, like, when I bought my place, like, they weren't really doing that. Like, in my county, just they started doing it just like a couple of years after. But I don't know about land. I don't know if they have. I don't know, like, if there's like some sort of insurance for the land. I'm sure there is. Like, there's definitely like a property tax, like some sort of. So I
I
don't know
mean,
if like there's like weird insurance or some sort of like crap that like you may have to put down more to bypass that or what have you. But I
right,
don't know.
right,
I don't know what it is. What it's
and
like in Michigan.
oh Manny,
Hey, Manny.
what?
President
Hey
Manny.
Manny,
Was good.
president's in the house. Michigan, good question.
Yeah.
Example, are you buying rural land? Yes, a lot of the land that we're looking at, it is very much rural. And I mean, even the city that we live in is very much rural as it is, anyways. But I do know from the accounting classes that I've had here in Michigan, when it came to land, the one thing that was always drilled into our heads was when you buy a piece of land, it's an investment because land is the only asset that you can have that never depreciates in value.
Mm-hmm.
It never depreciates. However, depending upon how you improve the land, then yeah, you're gonna get some more money out of it. So I'm like, cool. Now, as far as like the property tax goes, I almost want to say it depends on where you live. It depends on where you live. Land. What do you mean? What do you mean? Is it landlocked?
I guess if there's no water near you, like any lakes or rivers near you.
Not really. No, it not really. And I say that because we already looked at it. We already looked at the piece of land that we were wanting to buy. We already looked at it, and if anything, the closest river or lakes per se would be like a like 3-4 miles out the way. That's the closest
Oh,
lake.
okay.
And and again, but at the same time, it's nowhere near the land where we're trying to buy. It's nowhere near it, you know. But
Oh,
uh,
I don't know. That could be another definition of landlocked. Nearby.
oh no, no.
I don't know. That's
Oh,
interesting.
that's what's possible.
It,
Like I guess in
I mean,
this,
it's possible, but
I don't know.
but the because I got now that he broke it down, I get what he means.
You're right.
No, because the land that we're trying to buy, it's still owned by the bank. Hey,
Hey, bet.
hey, Bat.
Early.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Like I said, the land we're trying to buy is still owned by the bank, and even then, like none of the neighbors that's surrounding the land, none of them want to buy it. Like we already know where one of our neighbors live. If we were to buy, we already know where one lives. We already know where the other one lives, and even then, the one neighbor that sits behind the piece of property we're trying to buy, he already marked off the territory of where um his property line ends and where the other one begins. So he's already marked that off.
Gotcha.
you know. And then the guy or the homeowner towards if you were looking at the land, you're looking towards, it'll be my right, everybody's left, looking at the camera. He's done the same thing too. So he's kind of made that dividing part of where where that land ends and where his begins. You know, and
Are there
and for
houses
the
there, or is it just like he just marked off the land?
oh, he just marked it off.
Okay, so there's
Like
no
you could
houses there yet.
no, and
Okay.
so you could tell like where the houses are as far as how far
Mm-hmm.
away it is because
Mm-hmm.
none of them have fences. So none of them have fences, and it's like a lot of the actual homes they're so pushed back far away where you can clearly see like okay that's their house and this is the clearing, that's where their property line ends,
Mm-hmm.
and from this person to the other person you can clearly see it,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the fact that it's still kind of like heavily wooded and whatnot, and a lot of times they kind of use it for like hunting deer and whatnot, and so they kind of just mark everything off that way.
Okay.
So like I said, it's still owned by the bank. Nobody has made any kind of deals on it since never. Like it's been on the market for like 300 and some odd days. You know,
Mm.
probably no more than that. It's been on the market more than that, more than 300 some odd days, more than 300 some odd days.
How
And
many
so
is it like?
yeah,
How big is the plot of land?
1.5 acres,
Okay, that's good.
one
That's really
1.5
good.
acres.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which is like right next door to it, is another 1.5. And so we were contemplating on buying both of those two. And so we own both of those two pieces, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that in itself is like put it all together. That's like 3 acres, 3 acres of land. So like we'll think about it, you know, and then if we decide to buy it, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. And so
Okay.
that way it's like we'll build our mini compound and you know, whoever wants to come over, you're more than welcome to come over. You know, if you want to get shot up with paintballs, you're more than welcome to get shot up with paintballs. Or are there any big trees? No, no, there are no big trees. Like, and I know what you mean too. There's really not. A lot of the trees that are there are relatively small. Relatively small. Yes, yes, self-sufficient. Yes, meaning that we're gonna grow our own fruits and vegetables, and if we have
Nice.
to, if we have to do, um, you know, raise some chickens and some turkeys, yes, we will do it. Even if I had to go and hunt my own turkey, yes, we're gonna do it. You know, and basically just live off the land. We're gonna not try to like worry about what happens in solar space and outer space and whatever else you can figure out. But yeah, you know that's our plan, and that's what we're really gonna stick to because like we know that a lot of the fruits and vegetables are garbage. A lot of the meats has been processed as garbage, and you know if we want to be as healthy as we want, as we say we want to be, we might as well go ahead and put in the work to do it ourselves. You
Mm.
know, and just learn from there. Oh yeah.
That's good. Like if you, I know that like you could, also sell your fruits and vegetables too, and I think that you could do like some sort of farmer's tax of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's a way to do that. I don't know,
There's
but
something like
sure.
that.
Right, right. I'm pretty sure there's something like that though, and like I said, it's only like really a matter of time
Mm-hmm.
before we kind of get our knees into it and whatnot. But again, I figured this much that a lot of my family members and a lot of my wife's family members, that's probably like the one thing that they really don't have is yeah, they may own homes, but as far as the land that their homes sit on, a lot of them they don't really own it. And so we're like, no, we're gonna own our own land and build our house, and that's it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, sell it at the farmers market. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah. Especially if it's a good season. Yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
You know,
Get a little extra
which
income.
which leads into the next topic, which is funny because we're like, okay, so we're talking about buying land and we're talking about, buying homes and home ownership. But the one thing that we don't necessarily talk about is credit, you know, and especially how talk about credit and especially how it relates to the wealth gap, and how sometimes most black folks, not saying everybody falls in this category, but most black folks, they tend to abuse it because they don't know enough about it. And so, again, as we're talking about the wealth gap in America with black Americans, how do you guys feel about the usage of credit? And should that be taught?
Hey, say that last part again.
Like, how do you guys feel about credit, and how do you feel credit should be taught? Do you think it should be taught at school or should it be taught at home?
Um, well, for one, I like my personal feelings about credits. Like, I don't like credit. I don't like. I understand like the perks of credit. I think that credit's good for like an emergency. Like if my
Hmm.
car were to, I don't know, run away, then I could, with like good enough credit, I could get like a newer car or something like, quickly. Or if I need to get something immediately, I can do that with
Right.
credit. It's just, the borrower is enslaved to the lender, so like nothing is free. So I would eventually have to pay that back, or have to, yeah, somehow make some sort of payments. So I mean that's like my 2 cents about how I feel about credit, how it should be taught. I think it I think it should be taught at school. I think financial literacy, um, and I feel and credit should be tied into financial literacy. I don't really hear
Hmm.
people, at least personally, don't really talk about credit when it comes to talking about financial literacy, but that's hella important too. Um, I learned about credit kind of funny. It was in school. It was just like a random thing, like a teacher said to like a student out loud. Like they just kind of mentioned credit or credit cards. I can't remember what
Hmm.
class it was. It was probably like math or something.
Hmm.
And they were saying like, oh yeah, when you have a credit card, make sure you do small purchases so you can pay it off at the end of the month, and that's how you build credit. And that's just always like stuck with me. So I was just like, oh okay, I'm gonna make like once I get a credit card, I'll make small purchases and then pay it off when at the end of the month. And that's what I did. But I don't know. I don't like. I guess that was all I really learned about with credit. I guess there's cash back. There's like which credit card to get, or for
Hmm.
your lifestyle, or
Hmm.
and just ways to pay it off, I guess, and ways to build your credit score, and safe ways to look at your credit score. I guess that's something, and how to use your credit
Hmm.
and credit score to buy a home and things like that, and make big purchases. I mean, yeah, I haven't really learned anything like that. It's just like, oh, I have good credit, so I could do anything. That's which
Right.
which I feel like that's sort of it. It's like, oh, you have good credit, you can kind of do anything. If you have bad credit, shit's going to be a lot harder for you. Like you're going to have a higher APR, you're going to have a higher,
Hmm.
things like that, which makes no sense to me. Like I always thought that was just kind of bullshit. Where like you have a low credit score, it's not because like you're a bad person or you make a ton of money. It's just weird to punish somebody because they're poor, and I feel like that's credit and credit scores in another way in and of itself personally, because like when like my brother was getting a car, or like guys I've dated or whatever, and they had like terrible credit score, and they had like some ridiculous APRs, and I mean, like, yeah, it helped to build credit, but I think that was just one of the worst ways to build credit personally. But I do know that there are some people who get taught that, oh, my son needs to build credit, let me get him a car and put it in his name. That's like a tactic I've heard people do before. I don't think it's a wise tactic, but it's a tactic I've heard people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to really like entrust anyone with a car. At least like, oh, put it in his name, at least to build credit. I personally think like if this is your first car, it should be a clunker, and you gotta figure that out. But yeah, it's just like a paid off like $2,000 like 1997 Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a clunker. Oh, but I get it. I get it.
Those cars still run though. They still run.
This is true. This is true.
Excellent.
Oh, this is so true. This is so true. I think the one Corolla I had was like was a 2000 Corolla, didn't it? And that thing rode like no tomorrow. But man, I think as far as the downside of credit, when I think about it, that one was probably like the worst mistake I can say, because of the fact that the car, my first ever car that I bought was a 2004 Chevy Classic, aka Chevy Malibu, and got it at JD Byrider. Again, didn't have any credit. It was like, okay, but need a car, and it's me, the missus, and our oldest son. We need to get around from point A to point B. Ooh, I will let you know. I will let you know in a few minutes. I will let you know. I promise you. I got you. And so we bought it. Mind you, and again, this is going off of what Elle was saying about, buying a car, and because you got bad credit, your APR is like out the roof. My APR was like 23%. 23% on a $10,000 car, which after everything was all said and done for with financing and this, that, and the third, it was like $16,000. And a lot of people are like, really? Are you serious? Like 23%? Like, yes. Like I remember holding the paperwork and saying, this is what it is, 23%. Like, wow. But we paid it off in like 3 years. Originally, they had us in there for like what, 5-6 years. We're like, nah, paying off in 3. And the one regret that I do have is getting rid of that car for something better, because it was like, yeah, family's getting a little bit bigger. We were getting, we need a bigger car, and thinking we were going to get a bang for our buck. Nah, not even the slightest. We went from a really nice car that could have held everybody to a really small car that barely held anybody, and that was that 2000 Corolla. Yeah, because the car we had before, the roof was leaking. Like every time it rained, the roof literally leaked, and I took it back to the dealership like, no, you got to give me a different car, because I'm not going to be rolling around my family in this car with the roof leaking. Like, no. I'm like, matter of fact, just give me my car back. Like, give me my old car back. They're like, oh, sorry, we can't do that. Why? We got rid of it already. What? Yes. Yo, yes.
So the new car was leaking, the 2000 Corolla, which was newer to you.
Well, the the Corolla wasn't leaking. It was the only one that was like still within budget and that they had on the lot, and I'm like, fine, I'll take it.
Oh,
I'll
gotcha.
yeah. The newer car was a nightmare. It really was a nightmare. But just to kind of go back on what Elle was saying, it was like, yeah, I'm still rebuilding my credit and everything else, and it was like once I finally got out from underneath that payment, it was like, uh, that jacked up my credit, but it also made it better in a weird way, and so now I got a credit card. I'm using that, and the credit card it's been doing wonders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been doing wonders, and I use it for like small purchases here and there. Pay it off, and it works. It really does work. And I'm hoping that by the summertime, I want my score to be like 620,
Okay.
620, 630. That little sweet spot. So it's like, okay, you got your card, you got your score up to this much, and you don't really have a whole lot of your credit, and so yeah, here you go. As long as you got this amount down, here's your interest rate. Da 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 da. I'm like, cool, great, I'll take it. Thank you. Have a good day. And sample, yes, it was like 40 degrees here in Michigan. It was nice, and now it's like bitter cold in Michigan. So yeah, it was really nice while it lasted.
That's just good.
I was just saying it's 73 degrees here in South Florida, where I'm at.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 48. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where are you sample again? I'm in Mass, and it did get to 48, and I was like, wow, summer's making a comeback. There's still a bunch of snow that's been out because it was just snowing like light flurries a lot last week, but it was barely breaking 32, so it never got the chance to melt. So I think a lot of it melted today, but I'm not sure how much. And unfortunately, it's going back to a cold of like 30, so I hate when that happens because then it freezes over anything that melted. But I was going to say earlier in the chat too, from B, since you're talking about feeling neglected, I think we gave you the heart shout out. We were just in the middle of talking when you came on. So you're very welcome and loved here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. B Julia 33. Yeah. So credits, I guess the original question was about credit. Definitely should be taught more with financial literacy. I get what Elle is saying about not being a fan of. I mean, I use credit cards a lot, to be fair. I don't really use my debit card for anything, but I try to make sure that I pay off. Unfortunately, there's one card, admittedly, that has been kind of just been chilling with a balance, which is not good. Don't do that. Like, whenever you use a card,
you like to keep things just chilling. That shouldn't be chilling.
Wait, what else are we referring to?
Like your whole fridge? Like no, I meant like your wine and your eggnog, your milk, orange juice. Like,
I see. This is what this has come to.
Yeah, it's like your credit card. You just let things chill.
Laying me up here. All right.
It's all love. It's all love, Toby. Whether you can feel it or not, it's all love.
I'll take care of the fridge. Will get taken care of one way or another. Because there is some stuff that really should get tossed. But that being said, my credit card, I agree. I should. I've been trying to make moves to pay down one of them better. But in general, pay down your whole balance. That was how it was when I got my first cards. I would sometimes leave my card, like if I had a promo balance, which is how they get you. They'll say that you don't have to pay any interest for like a year. which is dangerous. So a lot of people get into credit card debt, which is really nasty. It can get up to like 20% or maybe worse. Like my credit score is actually pretty good. I literally thought of freaking
like what's inside the fridge.
Yeah, this time it's what's inside instead of the size. It's what's inside that counts, not the size. Anyway, I'm gonna pause and just move on from that one. So when we have
Okay.
that wasn't 100% planned, so I'm just gonna keep going. When it comes to credits, you be careful with those intro promos, because it's really not worth it sometimes to get yourself into thousands of dollars of debt. You might not have to pay any interest on it, but then all of a sudden next year comes around, and then you have to now pay 12. Like on the low end, I've gotten maybe 13%. I actually don't know right now what my APRs are, because for most of my credit cards, I do have multiple. That's also not always advised, but I pay off the whole balance every month. For one, it's been chilling, but being chipped away at. And it's good to build your credit. So my credit score is not in the good range, but it's been in the next range. It's been below that too, but I try to keep it, in that sort of very good, not quite excellent, but I try to keep it good. And I've gotten relatively high, but it's, it fluctuates. And so credit should be taught better, because I remember when I took like AP economics. I remember I had.
I said, okay, AP economics.
No, and the reason I drop it is because I had the choice to take financial literacy, but in my head I was like, nah, like that's a prereq to AP Econ. I need the AP class because college credit in college is important, and it is. But I do wish that I had to take some kind of financial literacy class. But the good thing is my teacher, who taught both of them, she did drop a few things. So she taught about credit and how credit is not money. Like she kind of kept hammering that credit is not money. Like you have your different levels of money, like your M1, very liquid cash. You have the less liquid. And you have like M3s, which I'm sure are like the bonds and things that.
M3 M as in money, or is it N as in like?
M as in money. Okay. Yeah, it's just these different levels of liquidity. So I remember they talked about how credit is not even any of those, and that was interesting. So credit, should be taught a little bit more. Because I mean, you're eligible to get credit cards maybe even before you're 18. I didn't get one until my last year of college, and actually I was recommended to get one, I think by my mom, and I got a Discover student card. They gave you too high of a balance. $1,500 for what? As a poor college student, not making any money, but they gave me like $1,500 as my first like credit line. And I was like, what the heck? But I always paid off everything as I used it. But like that said, that's how they get you. So credit is important because you make the payments, you show that you can essentially be a good borrower. And now I've heard there's legislation that's passed, maybe federally, but in a lot of states, so that utility bills and phone bills count as credit. So you make those payments. It also shows that you're a worthy lender. That builds your credit score, gives you access to the bigger things like, being able to get a big loan for something, getting obviously a home loan, like all those types of things are necessary. So unfortunately, credit is one of those nasty, evil things sometimes that you kind of need in order to, because as someone put it, credit just means that you're really good at like being able to borrow and pay things back. Like it doesn't really mean you own anything. It just means that you can pay someone else back with their money, for better or for worse. And fine. If that's what it takes to get some of the bigger loans in order to advance in life, then so be it.
I feel like we live in such a flashy capitalist society that we need the big flashy thing immediately. We need it now. You need
my money.
You need the flashy car right now. You need the really awesome furniture right now. It's like the age old. You buy things that you can't afford to impress people that you don't even like. I mean, I feel like that's just like credit in a nutshell, where it's like, especially like when that's how they get you with like, exactly, it is a trap, it is a cycle. It's like, oh, you need this, you need to buy. And none of the things that you're buying you really, really need. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. And there's some stereotypes that I it's kind of true for a lot of people, but I know like there's a lot of like kind of people in finance, especially in the Black community, who try to like talk about like, you know, consumerism. We don't need to be buying all these like, you know, flashy $100 pairs of shoes. Now I'm a little careful to say that that's the reason why the wealth gap is so like there's much more systemic structural factors.
Right. No, that's
but you know, it would definitely be great if it was as cool, you know, if people really and there are some people who really are like on top of the stocks. That's another big one. Is investing in stocks or even just like index funds and secure, safe things. Let me look at some of these comments before I keep going in.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a credit card as a student in college.
Oh yeah,
that's I feel like that's how they attack a lot of people. So like, students are coming out with even more exorbitant amounts of debt. You know, because like you need to buy your books. So like, yeah, you have no income, but you know, you still need to buy your books. I remember credit cards were trying to, you know, like entice me, like those, you know, those letters from like Capital One or whatever. I remember getting those in college. Because you're over 18, so you could start building credit.
Yeah. Once I mean, at that point, it's fair game.
Yeah, for sure.
Thankfully, like with my first card, I was responsible enough with it, and they gave I think 1 year or maybe even like 15. I forget how many months, but it was basically like no interest. Which again, that's how they kind of get you. So if you have people who surround you and who can like give good advice on it, great. Because when it comes down to it, you have positive net worth if you basically spend less than you make, and that comes with credit. That also comes with loans like car loans. And so if that's like your priority is you're not going to spend more than you make, then good. Otherwise, you start off on a really bad foot, and then you have to spend a lot of time paying down debt instead of building towards an actual asset. Homes are no one's saying that should be the first thing when you like get to college or out of college, but even being able to save up for some other stuff. So credit's a tricky one, but a necessary evil a little bit. There's a few other things too. When it comes to student loans, we mentioned that. I looked up some numbers just because I wanted to at least have something. CNBC back in 2019 July was saying that the average black borrower owes white student loan borrower is $30,000, while the average black borrower is closer to $34,000, so $4,000 higher. That actually, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a bigger gap, but the gap is that white borrowers pay down the education debt at a rate of 10% a year, while black borrowers is 4%. And of course, the interest is what kills you with anything. If you don't pay it down quickly, the money keeps hanging over you. So when it comes to big student loan debt, you know, that ends up being a problem. I guess I thought it was a bigger problem, actually, that one of the big, and maybe, you know, it's an average, but one of the big problems is, okay, if you have this student loan debt, also maybe when it comes to, I think there's disparities when it comes to forgiveness. So that also affects you if you get less forgiveness. But one study I see here from the Brookings Institute was saying that the black-white disparity in student loan debt more than triples after graduation. So I guess when it comes to that rate of paying it down, if you're not paying it down fast enough, then yeah, it just keeps skyrocketing up. And then that ends up being a factor why people don't buy the homes or they don't invest the money in an actual asset, like the stock, or if we want to get more more into the other space, you have crypto, Dogecoin. Anyone? This is not financial advice. Disclaimer. Let's not get sued. Anyway, so people can do what you want with your money, but there's a lot of opportunities that people don't take advantage of because of the debt. And when you're in higher debt, you have less of the assets. So those are kind of some of the big ones. Too much credit card debt, too much student loan debt. Cars, I don't know really the data on car debt, but people, like, I know you guys were just talking about vehicles. I got my 2016 Honda Civic in 2019. It was relatively nice, relatively new. Definitely paid more than I really needed to pay for it. I probably even didn't. Oh, unfortunately, no, I was a fool, and I bought like near the high, and that was a nice little loss. I didn't sell it, thankfully, because I never sell. I don't believe in selling a loss. I bought some Chinese companies that I got pummeled on because of the trade war back in, like, I think I bought them in 2018. I still have a loss in some of them, and I'm just not selling because I don't believe in selling at a loss unless, like, the company's about to go bankrupt. So it is what it is. I know, Elle, you visibly reacted to that one. So
you say you bought GameStop at a high. I'm like, which high? Because there was a lot of highs. I didn't buy GameStop at all.
I bought GameStop after the freeze, which was probably a mistake because at that point, when it froze, this is when all the hedge funds were selling. But I was hoping that people would just keep buying and buying and buying. Not really the case. So I'm just hoping that people continue to buy more. AMC, similarly, I bought at a relative high, but AMC went up because New York City just announced they're going to open up theaters by like March 4th. So
really, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I just saw that Cuomo, I guess, kind of let it slip. So theaters hopefully will go up and I can get my AMC back. Sunken cost, what she said. Very important. People will buy something and then feel like they have to hold it because you've already paid for it. And I've definitely done that with stocks. I've done it with other things. And you can do it without money. Like, people will stay at a job they feel like they're obligated to, or in a relationship that they should have left because they've spent time in it. So life lessons outside of just money, but the sunken cost will get you sometime. If you have an asset that is bleeding you or a liability, and maybe you should just cut it. Like, you need a car, but maybe investing in a car that will not suck as much from you is a good idea too. But it's hard because
I don't think there's, no offense to anybody, but I don't think there's really a point to invest in a car personally, because like it's a depreciating asset. So like as soon as you drive it off the lot, then it's already gone down in value. I do know and understand the reason to have like a newer car. Like how like you got your car you got your 2016 and 2019. Like that makes sense. But of course, like to buy like a brand new car is sort of unnecessary unless you just have the money and it's your dream car. And go ahead and do whatever you want to do. But yeah, because cars are a depreciating asset, and then like you're pretty much upside down immediately for a while. It's sort of, I don't know. Like I wouldn't recommend buying like a newer car. Like if you can buy the car outright, if you can afford it, try to save up, because even like with like 4,000, 5,000, like even 2,000, you can buy a pretty good car, and if it gets you from point A to point B back to point A, then that's all you really need. I have a 2005 Honda, and it has over 268,000 miles on it. It still runs. It's still fine.
A bike.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually
bike.
looking at bikes the other day, like, because I don't own one. I mean, calm down. I know how to ride a bike, but I don't know. I don't own a bike. So I was like, trying to get on like a little bit more of a health kick and start riding a bike. But yeah, like like about cars, like if you can just like save up and just buy a car outright, something like a Honda, Toyota, Nissan. Kinda, I'm not really a fan of Nissans personally. They're not bad, but it'd just be better to get a Honda or a Toyota. Maybe even like a Mazda or a Subaru if you can find one in that price range. Like at a good year. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I did want to mention something. So how I qualified to buy my home was kind of interesting. First of all, I live in a villa. It's not like a single family home. Like it's like part of like a condo association, so I pay annoying HOA fees. But how I was able to qualify for my place was sort of unorthodox. After I graduated college, after a while, I was working as like a paid intern. And I wasn't really making that much. I was just making like $10 an hour. And then, like in 2015, I got a job for, a pretty decent salary. And I was just saving up, living at home. And then my sister, who was my realtor, had me go to check out like a mortgage broker just to say like, hey, let's see if you qualify to buy a home. If you don't, he'll tell you what you need to do for like the next 2 years in order to qualify. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I was assuming I wasn't going to qualify, but because what I did with my student loans, I put them under a deferment because I was using last year's like pay stubs to show like, hey, I don't make that much money. I can't pay my student loans yet. So I only get paid $10 an hour. It's like, so they're like, okay, we're going to defer your loans for the year. I was like, oh, fuck loans. I don't want to pay that shit. and so when the mortgage broker like ran my credit stuff, it like my student loans all said 0. So that's how I was able to qualify. So like my way of like, to qualify was a little bit unorthodox, but I know that there are people who have student loans that still have bought homes, bought like condos or property or whatever. So I'm sure it can happen.
Okay.
I wonder what joke that was. I love Patrice O'Neal.
Again, we are not highly trained nor qualified financial advisors. Disclaimer that we don't say anything as a guarantee because your experience is different from our experience. Right. And like Toby said, we're not trying to get sued. No. We're not trying to get sued.
We're just saying this so we don't get fined.
Exactly.
Very.
So nobody comes up like, well, I was watching McCoy like some years ago, and they said to do this, and I did that, and now I can't get this on turn. So I'm like, no, you better not, because you better hear about them disclaimers. There we go. Is there any black tax havens y'all can utilize? I wish. Man, I wish.
We're about to go to the is it the Cayman or
yeah, it's the Cayman Islands. Yeah.
someplace. We're about to go to the Seychelles or Cape Verde. We're gonna find our own Africa, or I mean, you can even have the Caribbean. And that's gonna be our tax refuge, and we can basically, if you can't change and reform the system, let's do the same illegal crap everyone else does. But in all seriousness, yes. Sadly, I only heard a little bit about Tiger, but
yeah,
about dips, no chips, no, I'm broke. Not buying the dip is a scary thing to do. Now, I mean, I won't get too into all the stock stuff, but like, typically the best way actually to really.
The coin did not say that, Bat. Disclaimer.
I feel like everybody ever says to buy at a low anyway.
buy the dip, whatever the dip is.
Yeah.
I'll buy some salsa.
Yeah. I love buffalo chicken dip.
Oh.
Man, I haven't had it so long. One of my friends in college made like the best buffalo chicken dip, and it's like, man, gotta go find her.
Now, that's a dip you can buy.
Yeah. I know, like, you can buy it, but like you gotta make it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I don't think, like, I know, like, obviously there's a lot of different type of dip that people use for chips, but no, I've never done buffalo chicken dip. That's different. I'm looking at it, and it looks like yellowish type stuff. Looks good. Yeah. I just don't know if I've really had it. I was never really into like the wings and football culture, so like even eating wings and stuff was much newer for me. Like really like eating wings for real, for real. The first, that's like an aside, kind of relevant because the Super Bowl was earlier in the month, but like the first time I watched the Super Bowl was my first year in college. So I was 20, it was 2013, and the Ravens won. It was the Ravens versus the 49ers. So thankfully the Ravens won because I was in Baltimore and it was very nerve-wracking. We won by like 3 or 4 points. So that was kind of scary. So that was like the first time I probably really, was doing the festivities. So dip and chip and chicken aside.
Yes,
In terms
yes,
of
you got me on Chase talking about some dips. I was only talking about the chicken, the buffalo chicken dip. That's the only kind of dip you can buy. Anything that is stock related, no.
Mhm.
We don't say okay to those. We don't say okay to those dips. And again,
the one,
I'm disclaiming everything.
Yes.
yes. In fact,
Disclaiming
let's go.
everything.
We'll have to go back and like also put disclaimers on some some videos. Hey, tomorrow, Black Banks.
Yeah, there's one like the One United. Or something.
Yeah, One United Bank is a bank that's supposed to be like for the people. I know some people have mixed opinions. I don't know personally about it, but I know this Black Boston. What are you about to say?
And I was just hearing like the One United Bank has like some problems. I don't know, but. What you can do.
A real thing to do, and I mean, this is kind of morphed a little bit into financial non-advice, but what if you ever use an app like Stash, Acorns, even Robinhood? I don't know as much about automating stuff on there, but especially if you're on my favorite. What Stash is one of my favorites. Acorns is cool, though it doesn't let you buy individual stocks. But the point is, the technique called dollar cost averaging is one of the most kind of sound advice that you'll usually see from these different companies, and in financial investing in general. So that just basically is invest consistent amounts. So that way you're not really panicking over the highs and the lows. It helps you buy at the low constantly. So you're putting $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever, into different stocks, ETFs, which are the exchange traded funds that bundle together stocks and bonds sometimes. So your best bet is to just continue investing consistently in that. And that will also help your net worth go up because now you're not like, oh crap, I bought Tesla when I thought it was hot. And like Tesla today, I think dropped a pretty decent amount. And a friend actually said that the amount, he is Yang Gang too. I met him through canvassing. He said that the amount today that it dropped was more than, he said that this is what he would have expected over the next month or more. And it happened in like the first 30 minutes of, because he said that what happened was Tesla was really high pre-market. And I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the daily of the markets. I used to do a lot of the dollar cost averaging, and I used to buy a lot and really look at the new things. And I'm kind of sad I fell off because now I don't have all these cool stocks everyone talks about. But in general, if you just kind of invest regularly, the small amounts will add up. And it's actually kind of insane how high it gets. I'm just thinking if I hadn't just bought Tesla once, but I kept buying regular intervals, that would have gone on fire. Numbers aside, there was an amount that went up over 1,000%. So if I put in $10, it went up to 100. I put in more than that, so thankfully it went up a lot. But if I kept putting in money, it would have been over for all of y'all hoes. Not really calling y'all hoes, but it would have been over. I'm just dang, I could have been balling. It's fine. I'm not upset or anything. So that's really the best way is find stocks and funds you believe in and just continue to put consistent amounts. Hype is hype. Be careful. So that's on the stock and ETF side of things. Let me check some of what's going on here.
Yeah, I heard. I did hear that.
I didn't know about this. Oh, I've heard. Actually, I did hear maybe I heard some state I thought was trying to do something like this. Maybe it was the UK in terms of another country. So electric vehicles would be a good thing to invest. Oh, again, disclaimer. If there is more, let me just say this. If Nancy Pelosi bought like an absurd amount of money in Tesla and other electric vehicle funds, that might be a signal.
She did?
Right.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, there was some heat over. I mean, it was like very low-key heat, but people were like, wait, if it wasn't her, at least her household bought a ton in electric vehicle stuff. And they were like, wait, does she have inside information? Some people are trying to hit her on that. I don't really know if it was inside information, but at the very least, people are probably bullish on electric vehicles because of the new administration and just because of the future in general.
Yeah, people have been bullish with, electric vehicles, green energy, marijuana. Like, sort of what you'd expect.
Yeah. So marijuana was another one that I took some L's. No pun intended there, but I did take an L or two because I thought that. Yeah, I know.
I get it now.
You took some L's. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that it was gonna be really, no pun intended, but like lit and like on fire because of the Canadian legalization, but a lot of them dropped because there were some strange companies that were doing sketchy things, and I guess those companies, like some of them were like class action lawsuits, so you have to be careful because some companies want to get on the hype and they aren't that legit. So on net, I think I have a loss on my ETF for marijuana, but again, we never sell. I'm not saying you actually should do that. I just try not to sell if I have a loss. So disclaimer. Yeah, and true.
Joey's not a sellout.
Yeah, I'm not a sellout. I'm not one of those. So what else when it comes to wealth and building? So we talked about, one thing that would be great to have a conversation on is about obviously basic income and in terms of what that could do for the wealth gap, because there were some ADOS crew who actually said that the wealth gap would get worse. The black-white wealth gap would get worse if you had universal basic income. And it's essentially what they were saying might have been the fact that a lot of, especially black people, are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are, but there's more likely money that's going to be used by a lot of middle-class white to go higher up in terms of their income or their net worth, while a lot of black people are not going to have as much of that capital. So they can use the money to pay off bills, pay off immediate expenses and emergencies. But I guess as a community, that money is not going to go directly. And in fact, a lot of it will go into the consumer businesses. I think if you have $1,000 or whatever the heck it is, your life is still better off, even if technically the gap is not closing as fast as it should. But it is an interesting conversation for like, what does direct cash payments actually do for the wealth gap? And UBI, I mean, that's we hope, but we can only hope for so much. But let's talk about what's being done more right now is child credit taxes, or child tax credits. So Mitt Romney had the plan, had some mixed things on it, but I think it was pretty good overall. It would cut child poverty in like half. So things like that are going to help. And I think it would have a net positive for the communities in reducing a lot of, debt. And Cory Booker had a similar plan to invest in these baby bonds that you could access, like savings accounts that were government funded. And basically Mitt Romney is doing something. It's not quite the same, but I think those are still going to be, it would be good to see that debate more about like, does this actually hurt black people? Again, I'm kind of skeptical that giving direct cash money to black communities and neighborhoods are going to hurt. But in terms of the grand scheme, is it going to help the net worth go up? Because the number we didn't mention, but a lot of us kind of know, is that the median net worth is going to hit zero by 2050 or 2030, maybe. I think it's 2050 for black households. And I feel like that number is going to go up, right? Even if it's not as fast, because we're still kind of catching up from like 1960, whatever, to onwards. any money is good money. And I think it's up to us in a lot of communities and financial education to help direct it towards investments that are good for us, like buying property and sharing it, and a lot of other things. I'll take a little bit of a breather, but there's some cool initiatives like buying back the block that we've mentioned before, and some other things that you can do, that you can kind of own more things, and not just sort of be a forever debtor to someone else.
I like that. Facts. Facts.
I have something random to ask. What were you gonna say, Ron?
No, go for it. Go for it, because it might lead in. It might lead into what I was going to act or say, anyways. Shoot.
I doubt it, but let's see. That'd be pretty cool. So, like in a more extreme way, like you can actually buy massive amounts of land, like hundreds of acres, thousands of acres. If you just Google it, there's like a website. It's like a realtor.com, but for just massive amounts of land. What do you guys think about, like if Black people were to put their money into, like, just a big old plot of land and just pretty much create their own like little city, and like a place where there's a whole fuck ton of land somewhere in the United States, like in, I don't know, like Texas or Utah, or I don't know, just somewhere where there's just like a ton of land, like California. There's just a ton of land and no one's really using.
I say go for it, because that's smart, And I think about the analogy that someone said. Actually, no, I think about a Black owned business out in Minnesota. It's like 4 or 5 guys. And basically what they did was they pulled all their money together to buy like a space for a business office. And, that's their company, and it's like, okay, if they could do that for a business space, think about if they could use that same, think about if they went ahead and say like, hey, let's go and let's buy like a huge plot of land, everybody pitches in, and then once we all get it bought and sold up, we kind of divvy it up amongst ourselves equally, and boom, that's ours, and we could build up whatever else we want to build up on there. I think that's smart, because not only does it help set up a basis for generational wealth, but it keeps things that were once unattainable attainable. Like, you can do it. If you and like 3 of your homeboys or your homegirls, y'all get like, let's say you get $1,000 a month, so that's $4,000 that's coming in between all 4 of you guys, or 5,000 between all 5 of you guys, and you guys go in on getting a piece of land that 10% of it is like $5,000. Boom, that's yours, and y'all each get a plot of land to yourselves, to build your house on, and if you don't want to build a house, build it for, a business, something, because that's going to last a whole lot longer. And then let's just say, after some time, the business doesn't work out, you can tear it down. Oh, well, at the end of the day, you still own the land. You still own it. So it's like you can build up, tear down, whatever you want. But at the same time, because you own the land, it's yours. You can do what you want with it, and really can't nobody tell you anything different. And I think as more and more Black people come together and have that same mindset, it's going to change a lot in perspective wise. And at the same time, it can help push in, creating another Black city, which can turn around to be another Black Wall Street. It's just, I think it was either Bad or Julie who said this, to have that scarcity mindset taken away, knowing that you're going to get cash in your hands, you know, the possibilities are going to be endless.
Exactly.
It really is. The possibility will be endless. Right, right. Build a Chinatown. Right. Or like I know in Grand Rapids, you know, case in point, build up a little Mexico. You know, there's a bunch of like uh Spanish, not Spanish, but like there's like a lot of Hispanic like shops open up where the majority of the people that own it are typically related in one way or another. And it's like, cool, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. You know, and then they have their families come over and help out. Cool, go for it. Like I wish black folks could do that, but no, they so worried about A, B, C, and D that they can't even think about being unified on one thing. It's like, come on, what would hurt to unify for one thing and in one cause? You know?
This is what I was gonna say. There's a million things. So your point, Ron, like buying land, making your own community. I just looked it up too because I remember this, that there was in Georgia, and yeah, exactly what you said. You were pretty close though, about 20 people buying land, so 19 people bought it, and one like quote in the article was like, "We can buy our own." So they said, in order to begin reclaiming Black-owned land and generational wealth, Scott believes, and I believe Scott was the person. Let me see if it was the woman. Ashley Scott's a realtor, and she's the one who decided to do it with her friend. So, woo-hoo, Black woman leading the charge there. She said, shoot, let me find the quote again. If we go ahead and buy, in order to begin reclaiming, Scott believes Black Americans must create their own social, political, and economic institutions, amass land, develop affordable housing for yourself, build your own food systems, build manufacturing and supply chains, build your own homeschool communities, build your own banks and credit unions, build your own cities, build your own police departments, tax yourselves, and vote in a mayor and a city council you can trust. Build it from scratch, then go get all the money the United States of America has available for government entities and get them bonds. This is how we build our new Black Wall Streets. We can do this. We can have Wakanda. We just have to build it for ourselves. This article came out, I think, like a week after Chadwick Boseman died. Rest in peace to him. He was a trailblazer in so many ways. And so essentially, you create your own community. And it was talking about separation. And this is a topic that will be deeper that we can talk in another setting. But the idea of sort of modern day separation as opposed to segregation, because there's a lot of communities, some college students who have decided that they're not really a fan. Yes. There's some college students who are like, they wanted to kind of create their own places. When I went to grad school in upstate New York, there used to be a place called Black House. So this was like a few years before I got there, maybe 5 or 10 years, where there was a place where students could live on campus that was for Black students. And it was like something off campus that was renovated. And so, you know, there's mixed opinions on it as whether Black people should basically separate, which is, again, not segregation, where that's very separate but unequal, where they kind of people optionally and, you know, voluntarily go and go ahead and basically create their own communities separate, right? Because like one quote in the article is, this is a place where we can be free of prejudice and the Karens of the world. But even that kind of like Karen thing aside, like in general, there's certain like institutional bias or whatever that you're like, maybe I want to get away from and create your own thing, which is literally why HBCUs and other things exist in the first place. Right, so it's an interesting thing, like creating your own Chinatown, like you mentioned, B. Julia, though that's more within the confines of another place that's, you know, it is its own little town, but it's still within, you know, like another city, like Freedom, Georgia, if they think they actually want to look at becoming a self-sufficient community. And the last thing I was going to say was about the number of times money circulates. You hear about how certain dollar will circulate a certain amount in white community, like multiple days, weeks, whatever, in the Jewish community. I mean, I'm hoping these aren't stereotypes, but are like actually true and like facts. Also, like Sikh Americans, like Indian Americans, well, also have really strong neighborhoods and communities where their businesses and their money flows right there. You have multi-generational households where they live together. A lot of immigrant families do this, and that money stays right there. And they said the black dollar will like last within black communities for 6 hours. Usually, I remember seeing that meme years ago, where it's like black people will send money and it's out like of the community immediately, going towards whatever big business or whatever you want to say. And a lot of people will spend money on Amazon and e-commerce, but the idea is that you don't have a strong network of a lot of black-owned businesses. And even when you have a black-owned business, I've been thinking this to myself. Again, a deeper conversation to have about black-owned business and what sort of the end goal is, because a lot of these businesses, no shade at all, but like Instagram businesses, businesses online, these people are getting their money, but then it's like, what's the community that we're part of? Especially if you're online, if you're an influencer, if you're whatever, and you're spending money on this. Yeah, you're helping like a black-owned business, but it's not necessarily tied to a local sort of community. And that's just the nature of the 21st century. And I think that's going to be huge with the pandemic, with obviously more online business and online opportunities being available, is even if you're buying towards a black-owned business, is that money circulating within a community? Like if I pay some person who's selling, hair products, selling hair, skincare, beauty, selling whatever it is, I'm glad to support, but it's a little different than a brick and mortar where I'm actually going to this historically black neighborhood and buying. So the thought is what should sort of the goal be for black-owned businesses in the 21st century, where things are more digital and it's hard to track how money flows in the community when you don't have as much physical. A lot of the network is more digital at that point. So those are some kind of questions / food for thought that would be cool to dig into more and kind of talk to people who are really in that space.
Elle, did you want to add on?
Not really. I guess like I was mulling over a thought of, is it possible to create a whole neighborhood or world like in VR? And I'm just kind of like thinking of like future, but I mean, people already get paid online as it is. I remember like back in college, like 2010, I had a professor who told me like his friend got paid and like there was like a online game or something. I think it was called Second City or something. I know there's like an improv group called Second City, but there was like some online game and like his friend was a DJ in that online virtual world, and he got paid in real life money to DJ. So I was just thinking of like being like, if getting paid online, in a virtual reality setting has been something that's been going on for like a long ass time. There's a way to just create an entire virtual world, kind of like Ready Player One sort of thing.
Ready Player One.
And my house is a mess.
I completely feel that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the Northeast Farmers of Color Land Trust. There's so many things. And I'm actually just seeing, Julia, your comment about rich blacks reinvesting in the community. And we did talk, thankfully, about like black billionaires and sort of what that means for the community, and sort of all of that. It is interesting. It really is interesting. The options that we kind of have now and where we want to kind of go from here. Like there's so many communities that are doing their thing and they're kind of grinding. They're not all getting media attention. And it's going to be interesting how the numbers shift in the next some years. Some not great numbers where like life expectancy went down like a year for like an entire country. And then it's more than a year for black Americans. And there was something interesting I saw about the Great Migration and the Dust Bowl and all the stuff with the Great Depression. there was apparently a lot of black wealth. Let me see if I can find the number again. I didn't know this until I literally just saw it. So black Americans owned more than 14 million acres in 1910, more than ever before in the history of the U.S. But because of the Great Migration, I don't think it was the Great Depression. It was the Great Migration and apparently some racist policies. 90% of that land was lost by the 21st century, which reminds me of the Great Recession, how there was a lot of land owned after, the 60s and the civil rights movement, but a lot of that was wiped out because of the nonsense from the financial, like Wall Street and all the stuff going on. And black neighborhoods were hit harder, even in nice areas like I'm in Maryland. Well, I'm from Maryland, and we have like the PG County is a county that is the richest black county in the country. It's the richest country in the county that has a black majority, with like median net homes and worth of like 100-something thousand. So even areas like that, people weren't safe. And so a lot of wealth was lost because of the crash. Maybe even the .com bubble, but oh god, my fridge. You don't want to see the inside of my fridge. At this point, there's not much usefulness. A lot of drinks that have been stockpiled. Not a lot of food anymore. Not a lot of food that's edible. So
Like, Toby, what's that growing right there? Oh, that's some salami. Don't worry about it. It's still good.
It's
Scrape
just a
the mold
science
off of it.
experiment going on in this fridge.
science student, like Olamide said. Um,
Toby fridge.
I'm done.
That's awesome, Bat. Yes. Age the liquor. Yes, in Toby's fridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I drank a good amount of the wine with a friend this past Friday. We were just hanging out. So a lot of the wine I had, I can't show anymore. But this happens to be. Don't even ask me why it's right here. There's like this E&J, whatever. What is this? It's brandy. Huh?
Okay. Erkinger? Okay.
Oh, is that what that is? And then some other stuff. Paul Mason brandy. I don't really drink. I mean, I've had the brandy for like a while now, since like before the pandemic, I'm pretty sure. But the Ciroc I got probably end of last year. Mango Ciroc. Because I never really drank Ciroc. And I figured, treat yourself. So I don't keep my.
Are you a brandy guy?
No, I was into whiskey. I would say like I liked drinking whiskey on the rocks. I like trying new ones. Jameson's cool. I got some from my sister when she visited Ireland, which is a different story. She went to France and gave me a shot glass from Paris, and then she went to Ireland and got me some Jameson. So that was kind of cool. And overall, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. That would be we can have a nice little mixology session, or I don't even know what you call it, like a stream and sip. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. I'm always
niche.
I always forget that brandy exists. That type of liquor.
Because the last comment was for a second when you said brandy, I wasn't sure if you meant the pun of Brandy the artist, or yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she exists.
I know Brandy the artist. I
didn't really watch a lot of the verses, so I need to watch the Brandy Monica and some of the other stuff that happened, because for the culture and R&B, of course.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh no, were the verses not as hyped as good as
I mean, it's a fun song. Like, it's a classic.
Man, I saw the Jeezy and Gucci Man verses. Nah, I was disappointed. I was disappointed, and I grew up listening to the both of them. One of which was like, I wouldn't necessarily say by force, but you can kind of say it was by force. The other one by choice. It really was by choice. I was disappointed. Toby gonna check the milk. That's okay. Okay.
Oh no! Okay. Thank God that I don't actually have milk. I had almond milk, but even almond milk you have to be careful with, and I learned that one. Like
What?
nothing bad happened. I had nothing bad happened to me. Like I didn't get sick, but like I was finding out it just seemed weird. And I was like, oof.
I mean,
Almond
that's
milk.
the reason why I buy almond milk or oat milk because it just lasts longer. Like I stopped buying cow's milk because, especially when I was living alone, I was like, well, I only pretty much just use cow's milk for cereal and maybe in some ingredients whenever I cook. So I just ended up just buying almond milk. It lasts longer. So like the fact that almond milk got bad under you, like with me.
I can do this in a way. Oh yeah, it is literally Wakanda. You're right, Bat. I have like this glowing white light from the freezer. Y'all can keep going. I'm just gonna since y'all are talking your talk. I'm gonna
Vintage 2018 almond milk.
Get some ice.
Make it like a white Russian. Vintage white Russian with some almond milk.
Oh, he got the brandy on the rocks.
In a wine glass. That's interesting.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. It's happening. So I'm only 25. So Bat, I was actually shook when you said you're 38. I just assumed that you were like in your 20s or something. So I'm only 25. I'll be 26 very soon. Very soon. Let's just say very soon. I'll be 26. Actually kind of scarily soon. So I didn't listen to a lot of this stuff growing up. Not to mention whatever. Like I didn't listen to a lot of music outside of like you could say worship and a lot of Christian music. Different story. Different childhood, but I kind of am rediscovering music. Like R&B is something I had to start discovering more. If I told you I didn't listen to a lot of music until college, I didn't listen to a lot of R&B until like let's call it grad school, which meant 2016 onwards. So I had to like rediscover a lot of older hip hop, R&B. I've gone to some parties that are like R&B focused around Boston. Some nice like low key chill vibes in these lounges.
Cool.
Get your loving on. No, it wasn't really that deep, but like it was a good time. I'm definitely going through withdrawal from some of those. Not being able to be open, but no, like I can feel that. I can understand the pain though for those of y'all who grew up with some of these, and now it's like it doesn't feel the same for you. But for me, I'm like, shoot, I didn't really listen to them either way. So like I know these names. I know who Brandy is. I know of Monica. I know of XYZ, but don't ask me to name their songs.
Hold on, wait a minute. No, he did not just swing it and then take a sip of it. Toby, you a bad man.
What are you talking about?
That man, so I don't know who these people are, but I don't care. But yeah,
it's none of my business.
Yes. Like there's like all these people who released songs a long time ago, but then they also kind of are popular now. And then I hear all these names, and I'm just like, yes, they all sound like great people. They sound like queens and kings, but I just don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna show too much of my ignorance on the live. But there's a lot of like music I need to catch up on, and I've not been very intentional about music. We'll have a fun time when we have a episode just on music and the progression of music and Black music and influence. Ooh, we got to play the music if we can get the freaking thing to work. The share screen. But
then you have to do so many disclaimers.
Oh no!
So many.
Well, maybe we should do the if you play it like on like your phone, is that fine? Like if you just play it in the background, or is that also getting screwed over? I guess music is music. Fine, I won't make y'all have to do all the editing and whatever. So we have to be careful with music.
Yes.
We have to sing it ourselves.
Oh no. Oh god, karaoke. Oh, actually I shouldn't give people ideas. McCoy karaoke.
Oh god, no.
It's in the atmosphere. We're going to do it. We're going to have to do it since Toby spoke it up.
McCoy karaoke. Oh lord. And we're gonna we're gonna karaoke. Oh my lord. Oh my we're gonna have like.
You know what though?
We're gonna have to jump people on the live. We're gonna have to get people up on the live. We're gonna be like, you guys in the chat, y'all are coming up on the stream here too. What are you about to say, Ron?
All I was gonna say was on Twitch, they actually have a karaoke thing where I could play the music from Twitch of these songs where we can actually sing them. So that could be an option that we could do.
Yeah, let's have some fun with it. Let's make it unconventional. Let's make some unconventional.
Now you take 2 sips and now you change your whole mind. He was like, no, we're not going to be doing this. We're going to do karaoke.
Now we can do
yeah, let's do it. Why not? Let's get unconventional.
Yes. We're listen. We are an unconventional channel. We've already made this known.
Yeah, for sure.
We can do.
Make baby. That baby magic music. Yes.
Make magic baby.
Magic baby. Oh yeah, we'll make some magic. So we'll talk. We can educate the masses about wealth, business, and then also embarrass ourselves with karaoke. I've never liked karaoke as a side note, not just because I don't like being public and singing, but because I didn't know half these songs. And yes, the lyrics are there. One guy tried to roast me. He was like, "Oh, but the lyrics are there." He's like, "Of course, like it's karaoke. It doesn't matter if you know the song or not." And I'm like, "No."
It does
like
matter,
if I don't, sure. I was like, "What?" Like, of course it matters. Anyway, I'm not gonna throw shade at this guy, but he was he worked at the grad school RPI when I was going to school, and we were hosting an event for one of our Black orgs, and he was like, we were doing karaoke for one little meeting, and I was like, no, I don't know this music, and so I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's not even the same. And some songs would just be doing the most. Like, I can't do this transition from rap to singing to whatever auto tune to like let's yeah, I was like, let's be Drake and let's sing rap. Let's put on an accent, however many of his 25 accents he has. I'm actually surprised Drake hasn't done a British rap. Like he's done the Jamaican, pretending to be Jamaican. He's done whatever African one dance. Like, why hasn't he put on a British rap and gone with like Skepta or whatever grime music? You know, that you know what I'm talking about. Let's get a drill UK beat and Drake pretend to be British. I will definitely attempt to karaoke that.
When did he do an African thing? I never.
One Dance. He didn't really sound African in the song, but One Dance was Wizkid, and
I thought that was like kind of reggae.
The tune may have been more Caribbean-ish, but the two people on the song were because Wizkid and then the woman who did the vocals. I think they were both African.
Okay.
So it's. Oh, at 30, I'm getting karaoke. That was 24-year-old age. No, what are you talking about? Ron is like, I don't know if you want to date yourself, but he's 30 something.
I can date myself. That I'm 32, and half the people that they mentioned on the list, I have listened to a handful of times. I know me about some Jodeci, some Music Soul Child. I know about some D'Angelo. I know about some Lauryn Hill, all of Brandy CDs, all of Monica CDs. Like, I grew up on Casey and JoJo. I grew up on Drew Hill. Yes, I grew up on all of them. Jagged Edge, 112, Boyz II Men. Yes, I know I'm a youngin', but guess what? I can still. Oh man, I can still hang with the best of them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know like all the songs from all those artists, but I know. I'd say I probably know like their biggest hits. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love Jagged Edge's like Walk Right Out of Heaven. Like that song.
Oh. Yeah. That one.
That's cool. Oh yeah. Beyonce. Sadly, I've not been as hip to everything, but I know, of course, Black is King, and I appreciate her. I appreciate her and what she's done.
Yeah.
Homecoming was pretty dope and everything.
I only know D'Angelo's like Untitled song because
And
every woman does.
this is gonna be a fun. Hey Blake, this is gonna be a fun conversation about music. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
I really wish that copyrights weren't a thing. I mean, they can't get you on the live stream. They might try to take us down afterwards, but
Oh yes, Tamar. Yes. LL Cool J, Mary J. Blige. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
For when you don't want
we
any
gonna have-
hateration or holleration in this dancery.
Come on, L. Ain't no drama by Dr. Dre. Yes. Come on. Oh man. No more drama in my life. I ain't trying to be hurt again. Yes, MJB. Yes. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna do that one. Oh, we're gonna do that one. Do it, yes. Karaoke, yes.
karaoke.
Yes. Don't worry. Toby, don't
make
worry.
sure
we
to get
got
drinks
you.
for that one.
Yeah, that one will definitely be a drinks type of night.
Yeah, for sure.
That one's definitely going to be different. Oof. This is good. This is reinvigorating because I'm like, Black History Month was cool and everything. We talked about a lot of topics. We're going to have people on, but I'm like, it's always nice to inject that kind of enthusiasm again. And you guys are the best because where would we be without an audience? And
we'll just be talking to each other.
Yeah, which I mean, hey, these are cool people. But
Josh, you own that one. From 95 to 2005? Yes. Oh, come on back.
Yes,
Yes.
En Vogue.
Yes.
I love En Vogue. How did I even slip my mind? I had like their whole, I downloaded their whole discography. Legally, of course.
Listen, Bat is speaking my language right about now. She's speaking my love language when it comes to music. Yes, y'all start look. If anybody start name dropping groups from the 90s and the 2000s, other than a handful, y'all got me. Definitely, y'all got me.
No, like when you listen to En Vogue when you're older, like it hits different. Like when you're listening to them like younger, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Then you start listening to them when you're older, like, oh, I understand their words now. This was me. I fucked up. That was me. That's like my first mistake was I wanted too much time. I had to have him morning, noon, and night. No.
Oh man. Oh man. Ooh, Anita Baker. Oh man.
Yeah, she supported Yang too, which was awesome.
Yeah. And she posted something about the Robin Hood, the whole thing with the Robin Hood Wall Street bets, and a bunch of people were just like, not anti Anita getting in on the fray, not Anita Baker. Yeah, so there's just so many cool people and
Kid and Play. Yes. Oh man, yeah, man. Y'all speaking life
really
to the masses. Oh man. What was another group I was going to say? Said Soul for Real, Candy Rain. No, that was yeah, it was. Candy Rain. And then All for One. How many of y'all remember them?
No, I don't know.
PM Dog, I remember them. I remember them. Yes, Downtown Venus. And I'm trying to get a hold of myself. Yes, I remember that.
So funny story about the Jump Kids. So when I was like, I was even before I could remember. I was probably like 1 or 2 years old. My mom loves to tell the story. I would like sit cross-legged, like on the floor and like watch these kids. And every time they said jump, jump, I would like jump with my legs crossed, like like crisscross applesauce. I would jump up and down, like legs still crossed. Like every time they said jump, jump, I would jump up and down.
There you
wish I
go.
remember that. I wish like they recorded it, but we didn't have like recorders back then. That'd be kind of
True.
funny.
Yes,
Crisscross,
you
make
know
you
it's
wanna
funny.
jump.
Jump, jump, man. Oh man, y'all bringing it back. Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot. Whoa, Mob Deep, bad. You speaking my language again? I mean, I don't mind to ride along with you. We just belting out songs. But man, yes, Mob Deep, come on. Oh, America's Nightmare, probably one of the best CDs that I have from them. Yes.
Wu-Tang, I mean.
Wu-Tang too.
Wu-Tang.
That works too.
Oh man, y'all's like.
It is a Tuesday night. I literally was looking around for another bottle, but it is a Tuesday night, and I have work tomorrow. So,
don't you work from home? Do you go into the office? I can't remember.
Yeah, but I mean, even if just I'm staying home, the good news is I don't have a meeting, but I'm trying to be better at like.
Ooh.
Dang, everyone really knows everything, and I just I know names.
I don't know Dave Hollister. I mean, I feel like I've heard the name Dave Hollister, but
yeah.
Blackstreet was like I only know the No Diggity song from Blackstreet.
Oh, that was them. No Diggity.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's a tribe called Quest. Nobody mentioned.
Oh, yeah, of course, the tribe.
Yes.
Tang's the orange fruit. This dang fruit.
Listen, I remember Tang. Tang is kicking the glass with the monkey on the commercials. They swinging on the tree. Yes. And one was in the karate gi. Yes. I remember that commercial. Donny Hathaway. Oh man.
I know that. I'm guessing no relation to Anne Hathaway.
No.
Okay.
I don't know Donny Hathaway. Sheesh. I mean, music is such a beautiful thing, but I won't say I'm robbed, but I just kind of I'm an outsider when it comes to a lot of the culture and everything. But I appreciate it for what it is.
Okay, I feel that way too. Like I don't some people, I enjoy music, but I'm okay just even just sitting in silence or whatever. Like sometimes, I'd go on Spotify and just listen to artists and things like that and try to, find stuff. When I was I listened to a lot of music, especially driving to work. I would get music, and just play it so I could listen to okay. I was okay, I know of En Vogue. Let me try to get all their music and listen to their songs so I can really hear them, because I'd only one or two of their songs, but
where was I born? So I was born in Missouri, but I was very close, less than 2 months from being born in France. My siblings were all born in France. My parents were born in Nigeria. So the joke I used to make was, I'm the only one in my immediate family who was born here, and I could be the next Barack Obama. I made the joke in 2015. I'm not sure how that joke plays anymore, but I made the joke. I was in Texas at a university for a summer thing. I made the joke at an icebreaker, and I got laughs, but I don't know. Things have been so crazy. I don't know these days, but no, I was born here. It's just that my parents wouldn't have had any influence in that kind of access. Even secular African music, they weren't exposing us to that. My siblings did listen to their R&B, Nelly. They listened to, of course, a lot more. a lot more. I should ask them actually, like, hey, who did you listen to, and just ask them to send me like playlists, because I do remember when my sisters had like an MP3. That was back in the day of also LimeWire and like illegal music, because this was back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. I remember 2005 when YouTube became a thing. I remember when like there was a bingo sheet that was literally, did you YouTube this summer? It was like 2008 going into 8th grade, and they were like, did you YouTube this summer? And I was like, I did. I watched one YouTube video, and that was back way back when.
YouTube video?
It was like way before YouTube was even bought by Google. But I was young. Like y'all are much older when that happened. But for me, I didn't really understand the concept of big tech and everything. I was just like, yeah, YouTube. But as for Bat and the body count, I don't know what the body count comment was about, but Twitter, whatever, you have my contact, probably Twitter. Feel free. Oh no, you came from Twitch, I think. No, you came from YouTube, I think, because you saw Elle with her Mindful Skeptics. Either way, wherever you have my contact, feel free to send a playlist, and I'm gonna try to
YouTube 2005 was like the Wild West.
There was like weird memes, Kirby memes, where they like parody every song with the Kirby theme,
like
and
YouTube
poop. Oh my lord! I remember all these strange. I have to post some of them because I remember these videos, and I was like, "What is this?"
That's how I learned about Donald Glover. I was like, I don't know, like a teenager. I think I was like in middle school or maybe high school. I don't know. And I just looked up like comedy.
Stop it, Bat.
And
stop it.
What is he saying?
I actually didn't have a MySpace. I knew what it was when it came out, but I never had one because I was probably too young. And I didn't even get a Facebook till I was like a junior in high school. So I missed the entire MySpace craze. But I understand the idea of it.
MySpace didn't last all that long. Like,
was it really not that long?
I don't know when it first came out. I got it, I think it was like my sophomore year of high school. Junior year, I think. Oh, finish my story about YouTube. Oh yeah, it was just how I found out about Donald Glover, because he was part of this comedy group called Derek Comedy. And so like I searched comedy, then I searched for like most views or all time. And Derek Comedy came up, and this was like back in the day when like 1 million views was a lot of views. You know, I still miss the days when like 1,000 views was a lot. So 1 million views, I was like, holy shit, this thing has 1 million views. That's insane. And now, you know, like Justin Bieber could fart on camera and that would get 1 million views in like 20 seconds. But yeah, so that's how I found out about Derek Comedy. I don't know exactly what the story was about YouTube. It was just old school YouTube-ness. I remember when they put movies on YouTube, and it would be like part 1, part 2, part 3, and you'd finish like part 3, and then I'll tell you like, well, what next? And I'll never have like the next subsequent part, like part 4, and if it does have a part 4, it would be Black Planet, yeah.
Yes. Yes. I remember that one. I had one.
I had it like with like a group of friends, but I never really used it or really could get into it. I didn't really understand. I didn't know what was there to do on Black Planet. Like, was it a Black MySpace or was it? Like, I don't remember. It was like you had like a page, but what could you really do?
You could do like when I'm dating myself. So when Black Planet came out, it basically rivaled MySpace because it was really a site dedicated to Black people. Like the only site during the time that was dedicated to Black people. And I mean, this is way before like Facebook was like a huge thing, you know, but even still, it was a place to go. It was like everybody that I knew just to kind of give you context, in the city of Grand Rapids, predominantly black. So majority of the people that lived in Grand Rapids, they had a Black Planet page, like flat out.
Mm.
And it was one of those places where you could like meet up with people, talk to people. It was very sociable, and very lively. You could create your own page. You can mix it up, twist it up, however you wanted to do it, make it unique. There were pages where it was like you had glitter, like some kind of like glitter image and whatnot. Just like on MySpace, but it was more so personalized in a whole weird way, you know? And shout out to Justin Timberland's
I think
Bang
it's Justin
Bang
Timberlake.
when someone when everyone left MySpace.
Oh my God, there's so many
Yeah.
memories. So many memories.
Oh yeah, because Justin
Something.
Timberlake,
I didn't.
I think like he bought it like way late when people were barely on MySpace, but they're trying to make it into like a music thing. I think that's what.
Yeah,
I didn't think about
yeah. I remember actually I remember that era. I remember that era because what MySpace wanted to do was they wanted it to cater to people that were into the music scene, and
Mhm.
so they had it where you could build your own playlist based upon the users that were there, and a lot of your R&B, your hip hop artists, they had a MySpace, and so they had like a lot of their top hits on their page, and you can like pick whatever song you wanted and add it to your own page as your playlist, and you can set it to whoever came on there. They were able to see your playlist, and even if they had songs that were on their playlist that wasn't on yours, you could kind of get that from there. And it was like, man, it's just it was good. It was a good idea at first, but again, with social media advancing, with internet advancing, technology advancing, MySpace got left in the dust, like for real. Um, I know there was one, like I remember. I don't know if you guys remember, like Tag, High Five, like again social media sites. I know, Toby. That's what I'm saying. I'm dating myself. I'm dating myself. This was before like Facebook was even a thing. Like Facebook was like in its infancy stage, and everything else was just like slowly like coming like to a screeching halt. But at the same time, was like, yeah, we want something different and whatnot, and boom, Facebook.
So, and I'm gonna do this live as all good. Yes. So we are basically gonna brainstorm the next best thing. We actually one topic we wanted to talk about. I believe L brought this one up, is talking about the future of, and actually Yang Speaks is doing a lot of this anyway, where we have the future of. So it would be cool to talk about some futuristic things, predictions. And I mean, Clubhouse, I wouldn't have, it's something so simple, but I'm like, dang, that took off. Unfortunately, I just got this phone almost 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago Friday. So I got the S21. Okay. If I got the iPhone, I could have been partying on Clubhouse, but y'all wanted to make it only for Apple. So I guess screw me.
I know,
but
their operating systemist against
yes,
Android.
there is discrimination,
I like that, Al.
discriminated, and I feel I'm gonna file a complaint and a lawsuit. So I think I know one person on Facebook who was yanging Viola. She was an organizer in Iowa. She's a Black woman too. She actually was talking about Clubhouse. I think it was about money or something. But I was like, of course, people should go on Clubhouse, and I would join you if I had the equipment, but I don't. So, but it would be cool to see what people are chatting about in the gang on different sides of things. Social media, like at one point I wanted to do stuff with social media. When I went to grad school, this is like my most liked Facebook. This is how you know I'm vain, because I remember this. It was like my most like Facebook post. I was like, I got into a PhD program for computer science. I'm going to use it to better the world. And I was like, or maybe I'm going to use it for sick, twisted purposes. I'll take my pick. And that was in 2016 when I got accepted. I didn't even know what was going to happen with like Cambridge Analytica and Twitter and all the kind of craziness and controversies of social media. But I was like, I wanted to do stuff with social media data analysis. I don't necessarily want to create a social network, but I liked the idea of analyzing the networks and the connections. In another world, I would have done that for like Yang Gang and UBI networks, but different universe, different timeline. I'm sure some other parallel universe me is doing this. But social networks are cool. I kind of don't know how I feel about trying to create another one, like unless you're making it based off of something new. So like Clubhouse is doing an audio. You can make a dating app that's very like my friend actually made an app called Humor. I haven't checked it out, but he's an entrepreneur, also Black, and he went to my college and he made an app called Humor, which was a dating app based off of humor, where you match based off of your sense of humor. And I was like, that sounds pretty amazing, but I think it's mostly in beta mode. I have to check it out though, and I'll see if I can make a shout out to it on Twitter or something. And I've had my own idea, which I won't say publicly here, but for our dating app. So there's a lot of cool ideas. If we really wanted to brainstorm, and anyone else, I'm on Twitter. I think because I remember when you kind of like showed up some months ago, and I was like, "Who's this B. Julia character with all these cool comments?" So I think I may follow you. I think I already follow you, but because I got this phone like 2 weeks ago, I haven't installed Twitter, and I may never install it because I think my life was better without Twitter being on my phone. So
I don't blame you.
I will get to you, but I will see how often I am active is what I'll say. I'm probably the most active at this point
On Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook. I mean, Instagram is also very time sucking. Like today I was on Instagram a lot. You probably saw I was posting a lot of stuff. We were going back and forth, but
yeah.
For the most part, I stay off of Instagram because it can be time consuming. I stay off of Facebook, but it's easier to manage. Snapchat's probably my favorite, but it's the least social. It's more of a direct messaging, you know.
Yeah, sure. Maybe that's why I couldn't really get into Snapchat. I didn't really have any friends.
Oh no. I'll be your friend now.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I have you on every other anyway, so it's like
yeah, that's true. You're like one of the few who's on like everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to re-download Snapchat though. Like I didn't.
If you don't.
I didn't download it like for like probably like 2-3 years, and then I re-downloaded it during the pandemic, and then I had it for maybe like a month, and then I just deleted it because I'm like, I don't want to. It just felt like Neopets, where it's just like another thing you got to take care of, but it's not.
Like a Tamanaki or whatever they call it.
Yeah, like a Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi.
I gotta care about this.
I'm dating myself. Ow! She said Neopets. Ow!
Oh, I know. She said Neopets, not the Neopets.
That's like not something I gotta take care of and
man.
do with it.
As long as it's not black face, as long as it's not black face, we're good.
Black. Wow.
I've never heard that one. I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard of someone do that. So I think someone was trying to make Black Book. Also, I do follow you. I follow you, Miss Brooke. And the stuff that I've seen, like she their sense of humor is something that I rock with a lot.
Thank you.
Like when the Capitol riots happened, and she was like, "Where are the white community leaders?" I was just like, "Thank you." Like,
yeah,
like it's like kind of slightly, you could say provocative things that were like, Also very timely. It's just great.
Thank you, P. Julia. Thank you.
Yes.
I definitely like Reddit. I'd say I'm definitely better at like writing humor because to speak it off the dome, it's hard, but with writing, you can actually think about it. I actually do think about my tweets sometimes. So sometimes it may come off as like really random and doesn't make sense. I'm like, but other times, a lot of people seem to get it, which I really appreciate.
Yes, man, yes. I'll put it to you like this, L. Your tweets are like political comedic gold. Period. And again, like everybody has said, it's so timely. It's so timely, and it fits right there, and it's so perfect. It's like, dang, how does she do it? Like how?
I don't know.
I just need to get like a feed, right? Even if I don't use all of Twitter, I just need to get like a feed of L and some other people's tweets that I can just read.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I really do.
Dang. Yes,
sometimes
like
I'll be writing things and I'm like, okay. I don't know.
you say okay, but that gives most of us some life because my Twitter feed is chaotic as it is anyway. and if you post something on there, I'm like, okay, L, what you say this time? And I gotta sit there and I had to put my phone down because I'm dying and laughing. Like, no, she didn't. Like, no, she didn't. Like, she just went there. Like, yeah, wow, whoa, 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 buddy, hold up.
I think this was probably spam.
Legato, nah, bro, nah, no.
Yeah, this is like we're having like a weird Twitch comment.
No, that we don't need to put that up on the screen.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No. You better be lucky I'm on my phone, sir. You better be lucky I'm on my phone. Oh. No, we don't do that. Nah, bro.
It's just supposed to be like a picture or something. I can't see what the picture is. Looks like it's like a bunny.
She can't see it. No. So you can see it though you're on your phone, Ron? That's actually really weird.
Yes, I can see it. It's on my phone. No,
Al, you don't want to see what it is.
I see like a bunch of like squares and like lines.
Is it coming off of? I wonder if it's like. I know. I wasn't trying to say that. I know what you're thinking, Ron, because like. Oh my god. No. Even when I said it and I paused, I was just like, I need to stop. Because I wasn't trying to like say, I was not trying to make a pun. I was not trying to make an appropriate humor.
I guess I'm clearly missing something.
You're missing something. I might have to like, see, this is why you need Snapchat. I can send you a direct picture on Instagram of what this looks like.
I don't know if it's just not rendering. Or if I'm supposed to like look at it in a certain way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this to you on direct on Instagram right now.
Oh, I think I see what it is now.
Oh yeah, you see what it is?
But like send it to me though, because it probably shows up better than. But not because like at first I just could not figure out what the heck this was.
Yeah, exactly what Niche said. This is like the ASCII art. Like, are people really doing? Is this what we're doing? We're send nudes and ASCII arts, except we didn't ask for this.
Oh man, that's that dial-up.
Okay.
That's that dial-up. That.
Oh, okay. Like, see, I see it. It's like so. Toby sent me a picture. Like it looks a lot. Like I see it more defined. Like I figured it out. Like prior to him sending it to me, but I was like, I had no idea what the heck it was.
So I'm gonna tell. What did I do? What did I do of all people? Oh my god, Bat. I'm actually losing my mind here. Also, this is the closest the dong has been to my face in a long time, bro. I mean, first of all, I'm not coming for anyone's lifestyle.
For a long time, what were you?
Like, what do you mean? Like, there was some point where that happened, and then now it's just not.
Oh, Toby's
Right.
grounded. Toby got grounded.
Oh no! I mean,
It's like people are like, "You're so innocent." It's like if you're seeing what I'm seeing, I don't see anything.
I see. They really just
Oh.
didn't want you. They really just didn't want you to see it. I see, and they were mad that it's fine.
It rendered so poorly.
God dang it. So this has been completely
what the heck it was.
This is so freaking derailed.
Yes.
Disclaimer:
Yes,
I don't do things like this. I really do not. And
oh,
what was
God.
the useful conversation we were having before this?
No,
I really wasn't trying to make a pun. That's why I was like so upset that like, God dang it.
Oh man, that was pun intended all over. Oh my gosh.
Not on my
Oh man. That was hilarious. Oh my gosh, my head hurts. My side hurts.
This was something. This was fun. This was fun. This was very much needed in the middle of like
Yes.
a lot of stuff. I gotta move soon. That's really like a stressful thing. But
No. Toby, I'm gonna kick your butt. I'm gonna put this whole size 13 in your whole rear end. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
I regret watching this in 3D. What?
Hey, you shoot your eye out. Oh man. Especially in 3D. Oh man.
We got caught in 4K. Literally looking at dick pics. Caught in 4K. Oh man.
You shoot your eye out.
Yes. We be having these laughs. We're definitely gonna have to talk about. I mean, when it comes to comedy and everything, I mean, Elle is the person who does the writing. For fun, I was looking up like what would it take to actually get into comedy, and apparently you have to go to stand-up shows. So you were actually on the money by getting involved in stand-up back in the day. Well, back when you were doing it. So I don't know if I'm really gonna perform stand-up. That's a lot.
Well, you don't have to do. You could do improv. Improv's very helpful.
Yes. Improv class.
Yeah, and like there's this one book called hold on, let me get it. It's like writing. 1 second, I'll get it. 1 second.
Bad. Your MySpace profile. God dang. I can't do it.
Oh man. Oh man.
Comedy writing secrets. I couldn't remember what it was called. I'm also reading a book called Writing Television Sitcoms. So I was like writing comedy sitcom. I couldn't remember the name of the book, but yeah. So comedy writing secrets. I never actually got completely through it, but like pretty much like the first 3 chapters is hella helpful in terms of coming up like the how to structure a joke and things like that.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool to learn the like how they come up with things and books and in general, just learning. I've been trying to do that more for like, let me kind of look more at the science and psychology of, for instance, dating, which I didn't really do, but I told myself I would. Comics would be a next big one.
Like cartoon comics?
Or sorry, I meant like reading, I guess, about comedy, not comics. Improv is another big one. That's actually the one that I went to an improv show in Boston for.
Yeah, I recommend to everyone to take improv. At least I think everyone should take level 1 improv at least. because it really helps you open up and, talk and, just kind of spit out whatever it is that you're thinking and saying. Because here's a fun little secret at a lot of yes and exactly Bat Noir. That's like the number one rule of improv is to always like agree with your partner and to kind of build on the scene. But one speaking tactic that you see like in a lot of, especially like political debates, is and also if you watch like Whose Line Is It Anyway and other improvisational type of things, is that let's say somebody was given a question, or or sometimes you see on improv shows like, oh, pick an item, and somebody would scream out like pineapple. So you have to utilize pineapple in the scene. But what a lot of comedians do, or like improv, or even politicians do, like, yeah, I see what you're giving me, but I'm going to give you something else, and you're just going to have to sit here and listen to it because you don't really have a choice. So the improviser might take the pineapples, like, oh, here's a pineapple. Oh, okay, and then like put it aside and then start talking about something else. It's like, I took what you gave me, but I didn't feel like using it really. You're just going to listen to whatever the hell I have to say.
Yes. Actually, I remember where you had a prop, or even where you like have to like almost guess what someone else is thinking. And like, it was an interesting exercise. So an improv Boston came to our campus, and we had like a 1 to 2 hour session, probably an hour, of basically learning improv. This was before COVID, of course. It probably was end of 2019 or very early 2020, probably early end of 2019. But I remember it was cool because we got the hands-on experience. It was like a professional development, young professional group within our company. So they brought the improv people, and we did the yes and. We did I think the here's a prop and do something with it, or like, I don't remember what the mechanics of the one where you had to like guess what someone was thinking, and you had like a partner. And once they introduced the thing, and you have to kind of roll with it. I don't know. It was really cool. Mm-hmm. And I actually went unrelated, but I went to a friend who invited me to a comedy because she was taking improv classes. She wasn't performing that day or anything, but like she invited me to go see an improv like on a Sunday night in Boston, and it was pretty cool. Just to kind of see what they're doing.
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, first of all, we're live. Like, we're actually live. And second of all, yeah, it's going on YouTube and Twitch, right, and Periscope. And Periscope. So there you go. It is what it is. Good luck.
Delete. Nope, can't delete this one. So, bleep. That's all, folks.
Yeah.
You're not getting
all, folks.
Oh man. Wow. Lovely conversation. Conversation. I would hate to do this.
Stop.
I hate to do this. Yes, I hate to do this, y'all. Because, wow, Bat.
Yeah, don't do it.
Wow.
This is a very important. Like, we're basically, what's the word? Catfishing people into thinking that we will a little bit talk about wealth, and then we're gonna hit them with some ASCII nudes and also all types of stuff.
Yes, and
very important. People watch this,
and it's always thickly settled. Mm-hmm. Always thickly settled.
Thickly settled. And what was the other thing I said? Oh God, sweet cheeks. No. I don't have to. That one's a little bit much. The sweet cheeks are a little bit much.
It's out there now. You can't take it back.
No. That one's gonna work its way into a joke or two. So fun fact: Darius Benson. He's a Viner. Yeah. Pretty cool guy. He was Yang Gang. He actually retweeted Genie recently, and I was like, what the heck? So I was like, yo, we're gonna have this man on. Like, I don't know what's gonna take, but he's coming on. So we're gonna find these comedians who are Yang Gang. Dave Chappelle. I mean, I don't know. No.
I don't know how we could get Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I don't know about Dave, but There are a bunch of comedians. I mean, honestly, Donald Glover, he's like everything. Derek's comedy is the same thing. I found him from there, and then all of a sudden, someone talked about Community, and I was like, wait, Community? This guy was from Derek's comedy. I didn't know anything about Childish or the rapper, so it was so weird to now think of Donald Glover as this prolific artist when originally he was just doing all this comedy, and he was great in it. I loved the stuff that he did, even if he wasn't the main character. He had good roles. So it would be really cool to have like a comedy session like that with I don't know how accessible Darius is, but like if Darius can get Keen Batch and all the other Viners on, it will be lit. It will be lit. We will be rolling laughing. We will be rolling laughing. But I'm so serious. If I'm gonna try to get in touch with Darius,
does he know? Does he know King Batch? I mean, I guess so.
Well, I assume just because a lot of those Viners run in the same like social media circles. Yeah. There's a few other ones I can't really remember that well.
I told you guys I went to college with King Batch.
Yeah, you went to college.
Yeah.
That was wild. I mean, yeah, he's a regular human being and everything, but it's still like, wait a second. Someone knows the famous Viner.
I do stand up. I would like to get into sketch. Like I've written some sketches that I would love to eventually perform with people. I'm trying to work on that with like some of my like improv friends and things like that. I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that whole, like a lot of TikToks are just like one person and they're playing like different roles. I've thought about doing that, but I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that yet. But I would do sketch comedy for sure. I am trying to practice to write sketch comedy. Like once I heard that, you know how Dave Chappelle really hated the Chappelle Show because he couldn't really own it, but he did mention like in one of those somber like specials that he was thinking about creating like another show kind of thing. And it's like, holy shit, if I could write on that show, that would be great. But I sure as shit don't have the skill set or any sort of experience or resume for that. So I guess the only way I could really do that is to perform myself and, you know, put shit out there myself and hopefully something gets picked up. And maybe I can ask Andrew Yang and he can hook me up with Dave Chappelle. I'm kidding.
You just got him on dial like that?
He probably does. You never know. He probably does. Like, hey, David, listen, I'm having a cookout. You want to come by up? You want to come by over? You know, you and the family?
That would be
sure,
epic.
Angie.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If we actually somehow could speak with Dave Chappelle, that would be, I mean, it would be so interesting to just be like, Dave Chappelle.
I just want to listen to him.
Like, this massive, like, man coming down onto like our half a 1,000 subscriber channel. But, you know,
half a Yang.
Yeah, we're half a Yang. I didn't even think about that. We're trying to reach one Yang, so share this, tell people to subscribe, and enjoy the whole
Yang.
Enjoy the good vibes. We're almost the Yang of subscribers. Well, we're getting there.
Yeah,
we're getting
slowly but surely.
Yes, because Rome was not built in a day, and that's the way how we want to do it. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real laughs, real discussions, and Toby coming in with the real drinks and whatnot. But we are going to have to go. We would love to stay, kick it a little bit longer. Yes, Meech, we hurt you. Toby.
Yeah.
We hurt you. We hurt you. And so again, like, subscribe, share. Don't be like Bat and try to report us because that's wrong. That's not funny.
That's morally unsound. It's not.
Yes. Morally contradicting. And no, Bat, I'm not going to ban you. You're too funny.
I enjoy Bat. I'm glad for this diversity of geography, of age, of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Humor and styles. Please keep on doing your thing.
Yes. As long as y'all remain decent and funny and whatnot, I will not ban you. But I still have the reserves and reservations to do otherwise. So, with that being said, y'all, good night. We gotta go. We got stuff to take care of. You guys got stuff to take care of and get some sleep. It's almost midnight, and not trying to keep you up no longer than what you need to be. So, with that, it is us. We are out this bad boy. Catch us next week, and we will see y'all later. Peace.
Bye.
And